The court today, with Justices De Castro and Hardeleza taking no part, ruled as follows. I will quote, "Subject to the foregoing clarifications, the court partially grants the motion for reconsideration filed by the respondents and denies the motion for partial reconsideration filed by the petitioners in GR number 209442 for lack of merit. The dispositive portion of the court's July 1, 2014 decision is hereby modified as follows. Wherefore, the court partially grants the petitions for certiorari and prohibition and declares the following acts and practices under the Disbursement Acceleration Program, National Budget Circular number 541, and related executive issuance unconstitutional for being in violation of Section 25, Paragraph 5, Article 6 of the 1987 Constitution, and the doctrine of separation of powers, namely, A, the withdrawal of unobligated allotments from the implementing agencies and the declaration of the withdrawn unobligated allotments and unreleased appropriations as savings prior to the end of the fiscal year and without complying with the statutory definition of savings contained in the General Appropriations Act, and B, the cross-border transfers of the savings of the executive to augment the appropriations of other offices outside the executive. The court further declares void the use of unprogrammed funds despite the absence of a certification by the National Treasurer that the revenue collections exceeded the revenue targets for non-compliance with the conditions provided in the relevant General Appropriations Act. So ordered. End of clarifications made by the court. First, the court agreed with the argument of the respondents only on this point, that there is no constitutional requirement for Congress to create allotment classes within an item, and that what is required is for Congress to create items to comply with the line item veto of the President. The court agreed with that, and it said that there is no requirement in the Constitution or the General Appropriations Act that the subject of augmentation should be the expense category or allotment class. Accordingly, so long as there is an item in the GAA for which Congress has set aside a specified amount of public funds, savings may be transferred thereto for augmentation purposes. This interpretation is consistent not only with the Constitution and the GAAs, but also with the degree of flexibility allowed to the executive during budget execution in responding to unforeseeable contingencies. You will note, if you will compare with the court's original July 1, 2014 dispositive portion,
the third part is
the item C, quote, the funding of projects, activities, and programs that were not covered by any appropriation in the General Appropriations Act has been removed. That is subject of the clarification made by the court. So only two acts and practices are now considered unconstitutional. The two acts and practices, A and B, mentioned in the dispositive, modified dispositive portion of the court. The court also spoke to the issue of presumption of good faith and the application of the operative fact doctrine. According to the court, the presumption of good faith stands despite the previous pronouncement, which is considered obiter. The court noted that insofar as its decision on that point, it made mention that the proper tribunals can make concrete findings of good faith in favor of those people who are sought to be charged only after a full hearing of all the parties in any given case, and such a hearing can begin to proceed only after according all the presumptions, particularly that of good faith, by initially requiring complainants, plaintiffs, or accusers to first establish their complaints or charges before the respondent can be made liable. On this point as well, the court made a decision to modify and clarify the language it has used insofar as those that are subject to the consequences of the operation with the operative fact doctrine. You may recall that in its July 1, 2014 decision, the court named three classes of persons: proponents, authors, and implementers. the court today decided to clarify the language by removing proponents and implementers and leaving only authors within the ambit of the coverage of its original language. The last point, programs, activities, projects under the DAP remain valid under the operative fact doctrine.